In this lesson, we're going to be learning about enabling conditions which are based upon the answers in a previous roster. To do these type of enabling conditions, we're going to have to learn a coding technique called LINQ. That's LINQ in capital letters. But before we jump into LINQ expressions, let's take a look in the questionnaire at when we would need to use them. In module 02 of the example questionnaire, we have a roster with 3 questions inside. And then, following that roster, we have 02 part 4. This is an unrostered question, and we want to only ask it if the respondent has sold any livestock back inside the roster. So that means question 2 here. We need the respondent to have said, yes, I sold some of this livestock in the past 6 months for any of these roster rows. If he sold for 1, if he sold cattle, if he sold buffalo, 1 or more of these. Okay, so now that we understand the type of problem we want to solve, let's have a look at how LINQ expressions can work. For LINQ expressions, we have 3 different types of operators we can use. First of all, the operator all will return a true if the condition is true for all roster rows. The operator any will check if the condition is true for any of our roster rows. And finally, we can return a count, which will return an integer of how many rows the condition is true for. An example of these operators in a full LINQ expression looks like this at the bottom. We have the name of the roster, dot, which operator we'd like to use, all, any, or count. Then we open the parentheses, write x is equal to or greater than x dot to declare what x is. Then we have our variable. Now note this variable is one from back inside the roster, and whatever condition we want to check for. In the designer, we can go to question 2.4 and input our enabling condition as a LINQ expression. So first of all, my roster name is going to be 02. Dot, I'm going to use the operator any to check if the respondent has sold any types of livestock in the past 6 months. Then open parenthesis, x is equal to or greater than x dot. You don't have to use x here, it's just to declare a variable, so you can use y if you like, and it achieves the same thing. 02 underscore 2, which is my selling of livestock question, is equal to 1. Let's test to see if this is working. When we first come to module 02 in the tester, we can see that 02.4 is grayed out. So let's say that we have sold some cattle. Once I select yes and return back to module 02, we should see it enabled. Just quickly, we can rework our enabling condition to use the count function instead of any. If the count is 1 or more, then this is the same as any. So we can change any to count. And then say if this is greater than 0. That's all for this lesson on LINQ expressions. Join us next time and we're going to have a look at enabling conditions to allow us to consolidate 2 rosters together.